I've been creating videos online for about 10 years now, and it's been a wild and crazy ride, but I think it's time for a change, and this is probably one of the scariest things I've ever done. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, check. Okay, so you have to make sure to pay attention because this is gonna go by very quickly. "10 years, how crazy is that?" When I think about it, it's nuts. We've already posted a video that talks about what we do here on this channel and as the production company, The Fat Kid Inside. So if you really want the full history, I highly recommend you watch that video, and we will link it over here. Long story short, to summarize, I started The Fat Kid Inside when I was working in large-scale catering operations in Russia and in restaurants. I really started it as a hobby to first talk about my weight loss story that I had gone through and just share the recipes that I love to cook. So I posted those videos on YouTube, on Vimeo, on Facebook, and eventually created a blog called The Fat Kid Inside, and that's how it all started. Some squid, I cleaned it properly, removing all the bone. For the longest time, I was a one-man team. Everything from the groceries to the recipe development to cooking the food to shooting the food to then editing it and doing all the post-editing and then eventually posting it online on social media. For those of you who have been here for a long time, you'll know that I've been doing the whole cooking with my hands and laying a voiceover track over it for the last 11 years. So I've been here longer than most of the food creators that you watch today from abroad. So it really pisses me off and kind of makes me sad when people think I'm copying them when I've been doing it for such a long time. And it's only because they're more popular than me. But just because someone's more popular doesn't necessarily mean that they started it. I'm not saying I started it. I'm just saying it's a format that's been here for a very long time. So let's get that clear. Anyways, once we started gaining traction, I wanted to work on the quality of the videos. So I started working with third-party production companies and approached them to create the content for our channel. That became really expensive, so I did what any company that's growing does, and that's in-house all these services. So I basically created my own production company for our content. Unlike other production companies in the market though, we had a platform to use because we actually not only produce videos for ourselves but for other people, but we could also post our own videos online and make money off of them online. So it was a pretty cool situation to be in, and brands started trusting us more. So we were able to get a bit more bolder with our ideas and really strive to produce high quality shows and series and documentaries that we could put online. It took a really long time to get here, but I'm really happy where we are now. While going through all this process, I realized that I loved the business side of production and I loved producing content. And I wanted to do more, tell more stories, feature more people, and go bigger with our ideas. But for the longest time, I felt so limited to me, to Erwan Heussaff, because that's what our YouTube channel and that's what our Facebook channel is called. It's called Erwan Heussaff. And I felt that that was so, it put us as a company, not me personally, but us as a company in a box. We were actually getting there. If you watched our content in 2019, we were producing and starting to publish shows where I didn't host as much, but I was really involved in all the behind the scenes work, but not necessarily in front of the camera right here. But then obviously 2020 and the pandemic hit. You see, the Fat Kid Inside Studios obviously isn't just me. It's a group of talented individuals. We're about 14 people now in the team. And those 14 people need their salaries, obviously. For a couple of months in 2020, work completely stopped, and that was brands didn't want to post online because people were being very sensitive, obviously. We didn't have any commercial production shoots. I was also stuck in Australia. We're all in different situations. I'm currently in Australia, can't go back to the Philippines. And so for months, we weren't having any revenue coming in, but all the employees of the Fat Kid Inside Studios still had to get paid. So I basically was put in a situation, in a position where I had to double down on the content that I was producing on Facebook and on YouTube to hopefully generate revenue to be able to cover all those costs.
Always such a mess. Cables, batteries.
I get emotional talking about it because it was a very difficult time. So today is my last day shooting in Melbourne. It's really a weird feeling because I've been shooting here for 1 month now, and it's been tough. I was, my daughter was just born, so I was learning how to be a dad, but I had all this anxiety and all this pressure to keep the company afloat and to make sure that people kept their jobs. All the gear that I had to purchase along the way, I had to learn how to light properly, which is something I never really was interested in learning how to do, but I had to. And yeah, it wasn't easy. It was like going back 10 years in time, basically, and me having to do everything by myself again, except for editing. Thank God I didn't have to edit those videos. But I had to shoot, go to the groceries, clean up, and do all this stuff that just took so much time, which meant that I was limited to shooting 1 to 2 videos a week and working 7 days a week in lockdown and 14-hour days and yeah, it was just a very tiring time, but also the most magical time in my life because I became a dad and I have a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter. This is the last time I'll be cleaning up this space. I don't know how many videos I've shot here, but it's scary to think about it. What people don't see in all the videos is just the amount of ingredients and the mess, the constant mess of shooting at home. It's just full. I have to clean all this now, all the other dishes that I shot, and then all of this happens obviously while life goes on here, right? So in the Facebook and YouTube and just online content game, when you're distributing your own content, you're really only as good as your last video. The less popular your videos get, the less they get recommended by the algorithm, and it just becomes it becomes a situation just filled with insecurities, and you're constantly questioning yourself. So it can be very toxic to post videos online and to have your revenue rely on those videos. And unfortunately, if you're someone like me who doesn't necessarily have a very viral personality, in a sense that if I just made random videos about my life or if I did challenges, and I have nothing against people who do that type of content, but if I did it, it wouldn't do as well because it's just not naturally my personality. What you see here, me talking to you like this, is exactly how I am. So if I had to act and put on a face, I think it would be very unauthentic and people would be able to see through that. And I wouldn't want to do that to you guys. So from the beginning, for me, it was really important to build value with the content that we were creating so that you guys as viewers get value from the videos that you're watching. On top of that, if you're not pulling millions of views per video, YouTube and Facebook in the Philippines, they don't actually pay you that much. So with the AdSense revenue that I make on both platforms, I'd barely be able to pay all 14 people that work in the Fat Kid Inside Studios, let alone the overheads that I have with the rent of our cooking studio. So that's why it's so important for me to double down and really focus and concentrate on the business side of things and really working with great brands and collaborating with them to create high quality online content. So doing this is very time consuming of putting a video together and then turning around and having to do all the business stuff. And that's why sometimes the edits seem rushed. And I never want to be in a position where we're rushing the content that we're putting out, because the more rushed something is, the lesser quality it is. So I really want to be able to take the time to select the shows that I host and I'm part of in front of the camera so that I really get to put out really good content. And for us to be able to do that, I need to focus on the business, but I also need to focus on producing other shows with other hosts and other people. And that is why, and this is the scary part, that is why starting today, we're doing some huge changes online. We are no longer Erwan Heussaff. We are now gonna be called Feature. But don't freak out, on Feature, you'll still be able to enjoy everything that you've loved in this channel. We're just adding more to it. It's a really scary thing to take a successful online business and completely change it, but I really do believe that we are nothing without change and without discomfort. I'll show you the new Feature trailer in a bit, but to give you the short version of it, basically, you'll still get all the Erwan, it's so weird to say it like this in third person. You'll still get all the videos that I personally host, all the travel videos when we're allowed to travel, all the food videos, and all the good stuff that you've really liked along the years. But on top of that, we've already produced other shows hosted by other chefs, other cooks, and these will actually be already rolling out within the next 2 days. So you'll start seeing all these new fresh faces, documentaries, and shows that we've been working on really hard over the last year. On top of all this, we're opening our doors to collaborators, content creators, production companies, and brands. If you've been looking to create high quality shows, series, or documentaries all about food, encounter, and travels, but you're lacking a platform, then we're the platform for you. We can collaborate on a series or on shows together, and we can actually be the ones to distribute it online, and we can figure out how everyone earns. If you're really interested, I'll put the details in the description box below. So without further ado, I give you Feature. We've taken you to many different places. It's a terrible idea. Tease your appetite with great eats and recipes.
Look at that.
But above all, we've brought you stories that are larger than life. After 10 years of bringing you great content that lets you travel across the Philippines and the world, feeding your hunger for both good food and adventure, we are ready to give you more. More food, more sights, more friends, and more stories bursting with life. From the Fat Kid Inside Studios comes a brand new channel. This is our feed. This is Feature. And we're just getting started. Before I go, I'll be opening an Erwan Heussaff BTS channel, so a secondary channel where I can post all the random stuff from tech to gear to just my daily life or whatever if people are interested. Basically anything that I haven't been able to post on the main channel simply because it had nothing to do with food. Thank you very much to everyone who's watching this video, to everyone who's been here since day one or whenever you joined. The reason why I'm in a position where I can create videos about the stories I want to tell, it's because of every single one of you watching these videos, and I couldn't be more grateful, and I 100% know that, and seeing people watch these videos really makes me extremely humble and extremely grateful that you guys are all around. So thank you again for all your support, and I really hope that you support this next transition, this next chapter for the Fat Kid Inside Studios, for Feature, and all the people that we will bring into the channel. I really hope that you support them as well. At the end of the day, we just want to be able to give a voice to everyone, talk about the Philippines because we love it so much, talk about Filipino food, and just tell better stories inside and outside of the kitchen. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.